and what is up, gang? Thank you for checking out Sledgehammer TV today. We all knew going into this pay-per-view that the Crown Jewel event for 2019 was going to be a complete and utter disaster. What we didn't know is exactly just how bad it was going to be, and it ended up 100 times worse than any of us could have ever expected. And we are here to talk about it right here and right now. My name is Nick Nightmare, and you are watching the Sledgehammer Wrestling Show's Crown Jewel 2019 review and reaction show. Let's do it.
The Sledgehammer Wrestling Show.
For the second time, we have sat through the WWE's Disaster in the Desert, affectionately known as the Crown Jewel, and I hated mostly everything about this show. And I say mostly because we're going to put this down for just 1 second. There's something I need to talk about. Because at the end of the day, there is one thing, after sleeping on it and waking up this morning, there's one thing that stuck with me about the Crown Jewel, and it's actually not that negative. I can try to spin this into a positive thing only for this much. Believe me, we're bringing the hammer down on this show because it was an absolute piece of trash, okay? But there is something that cannot be unsaid, okay? We have to look at this pay-per-view in the Crown Jewel, right? In Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, right? And if you closed your eyes and you just listen, you hear a crowd of 20, 30,000, whatever, how many people it was, and they sound and act exactly like the fans from wherever you're from, whether you be from the United States or the United Kingdom or Canada or anywhere else around the world. You listen and it's exactly the same. It's exactly the same. They cheer for the Fiend. They boo for Seth Rollins. They enjoy what they enjoy to watch when it comes to professional wrestling. And I bring this up because it's just a clear indication of how important the sport of professional wrestling is to the entire world. It is the one commonality that links almost every single one of us. If you're a wrestling fan, it doesn't matter what you look like, it doesn't matter where you're from, it doesn't matter what hair color you are, what God you believe in, or any of those things. Wrestling has the potential to bring the world together. And there are plenty of people in Saudi Arabia, in that crowd that night, that feel exactly like I do on a daily basis as it pertains to Seth Rollins. And how can you not enjoy just seeing that? You know that it's worldwide. You know that you're not alone. You know that no matter where the WWE goes, they are feeling the same heat, the same criticism, because fundamentally, as human beings that enjoy professional wrestling, we're all the same. We are all the same. We can like and dislike different people, and we can have differences of opinion, but at the end of the day, we all want to watch a good wrestling show. And it's a great sense of community to me, and I love seeing people from different backgrounds reacting the same way as we do. The same way you would see a Monday Night Raw crowd. That's what you kind of felt at the Crown Jewel. And I could respect that. It doesn't matter. We're all the same. And another thing is the whole Mansoor situation. Am I happy that Cesaro was brought to Saudi Arabia to take a loss? Absolutely not. But you got to look at Mansoor, and regardless of the fact that he looks like Seth Rollins with a blowout coming out of a wind tunnel, the guy went in there and he kicked ass. That was my favorite match of this night. Not that any of them really gave it that much of a competition, because this match stole the show. And it's because this kid's not just a flippy, look what I can do wrestler. He told a great story in the ring, and he's telling a great story about his character. He's not just some dark-skinned Italian guy playing the Saudi villain. He's not billed as a, semi-terrorist, American-hating, evil person, which has been the WWE's MO when it comes to people from that region of the world. Here in the United States, we were taught as youngsters, wrestling fans, to hate the outsider. This guy's coming in, spitting all over America. We don't like these guys. And that might have worked in the 80s, but it doesn't work now. And here you have a guy like Mansoor, who's standing out there, and he is legitimately inspiring a nation and an entire generation who have never seen anybody that looks like them, that talks the way they talk, that feels the way they feel, believes in what they believe in, and be on a show like the WWE and have even as much success as Mansoor has had. He's won one big match, and it's the biggest match that he may have ever won in his career already, because it was in front of his hometown. And how many kids in that audience are now going home thinking, wow, Mansoor did it, I can do that. If I want it hard enough and I work hard enough, I can go out and I can do that. And the importance of that cannot be understated. The biggest mistake I can find with the WWE and Mansoor is the fact that we seen him a year ago and we haven't seen him since. And if he could put on matches the way we seen last night with guys like Cesaro, why is he not tearing it up in NXT just yet? Why are they reserving him just for the when we go to his hometown so we get the big hometown pop? That's my only criticism. But otherwise, this is a huge moment. And that's what we need. We need moments, something that you could look back on and be proud as a wrestling fan and say, wow, that was a great match. This kid came out there and threw it down, and then he gave a heartfelt, meaningful promo at the end, and he was inspiring to his own people and to young people around the world, not just his own people. You can't not look at that and say, wow, good job. Good job, WWE. You have to give credit where credit's due. And I can say it even more about the women's match situation. Now, bear with me. We all know that this match was a piece of crap. We all know that we're tired of seeing Natalya and Lacey Evans fight. This is another rematch between two girls that have supposedly made up since they started their whole beef, and none of it makes sense. But look at this match. It wasn't the best match, but what sold me on it was the little girl in the front row. You know who I'm talking about. You had to see her. She was in the hard cam all night. She was standing up on a chair. She was dressed up in little overalls. And she doesn't know that this match is a piece of shit. She doesn't know that the WWE is complete garbage. She doesn't care that Natty and Lacey Evans have wrestled 900 times in the last 3 weeks. She doesn't give a shit about all of that. What she's watching... And she also doesn't care that this isn't actually the first time women have wrestled in Saudi Arabia. It's not. We know that Alexa Bliss and Sasha Banks wrestled in Saudi Arabia once somewhere. Maybe it wasn't in Riyadh, but it was somewhere. And we know that historically TNA actually did it first with the beautiful people back in the day. But that doesn't matter to this little girl. That doesn't matter. None of that matters. What matters is she's sitting there and she's watching two women. Two girls just like her go out there and wrestle like the guys. And when you watch her emotions and you watch how intensely she was taking in this match, she wasn't standing on the chair for any of the other matches throughout the night, at least not that I noticed, but I noticed her during this match and she was in it, man. My enjoyment of this match came from watching the girls in the crowd. You had full-grown women who were watching this match with tears in their eyes because they never really believed that they would get to see something like this. And now, much like I said about Mansoor with the men, you have Natalya and Lacey Evans, not the best role models in the world, if you ask me, but you see how important this was to Natalya. She was coming down for this match, and she herself had tears in her eyes. She knows how important this is. And they're inspiring these girls. They're inspiring a nation of women who've never really had any women in prominent positions to look up to in any way. And be able to say, hey, maybe I can do that one day. They're girls like me. I can do that. And the importance of that cannot be understated. We know it's a political nonsense piece by the WWE. It's all just fluff. It's all just public relations and they want to look good. We know the inspiration behind it and the reasons why it's happening is really not good because it's not coming from this genuine place. But when you watch it go down and you see those fans and you take a step back from all of the bullshit and realize how important this was, you have to just say, wow, that was pretty huge. That was huge. That being said, and that's the only things I could say that are remotely positive about the Crown Jewel. So now that I got that out of my system, I just feel like I needed to start the show with that. Because it's the one thing that really stuck with me. Just the importance of those two matches. Doesn't matter why they happened, but they happened, and they're going to have lasting effects. Who knows, maybe this match, or these matches we've seen tonight, 15 years from now, are responsible for the emergence of the next great superstar. Or the next biggest star in the world. All because of this stupid Crown Jewel pay-per-view. Because the world needs to all catch up and be on the same playing field. And these are baby steps. And maybe they only happen for one night. But the fact that they happen could be huge. It was huge. We'll have to wait and see whatever really comes up of it. But just to be fair, we're always so negative on this channel. I'm finding the positives. And if you don't see it that way, as always, you're welcome to your opinion. But if you're one of the people that want to just shit all over it and you don't want to realize how big the impact of those two particular moments were, then I'm sorry to tell you, but you're an asshole. You have to have a heart sometimes, and as hard as we are on the WWE, those two moments gave me the feels. And if I'm nothing else, I'm honest with you guys, and I'm going to tell you. When they make me feel good, they make me feel good. When they make me feel like shit, they make me feel like shit. And the rest of the show, for the most part, made me feel like shit. Because this show... Let's commence with the hammering. Let's get all the baby bullshit out of the way and let's get to the meat of this show. Alright, listen. You have Cain Velasquez. The biggest thing to happen to SmackDown Live since SmackDown Live existed, apparently. You know, the way they're booking this thing on TV, you got Rey Mysterio involved, you got the giant baby man Dominic involved, and Tiny Dad's got his friggin' arm in a sling, and all this shit's going down with Brock Lesnar, and none of us really gave a shit about it all that much. And then you have it culminate with the opening match of the Crown Jewel, and you have the matchup go about 3 minutes, tops. 3 minutes, and that's only one mild criticism of the whole thing, and we are just getting started on this Brock Lesnar versus Cain Velasquez situation. You had this match like 2 minutes long. It took way more time for Cain Velasquez and Brock Lesnar to come out with their entrances, and then have Mike Rome give the big fight introductions, and that took about 10 times as long as it took these guys to have this bullshit match. First of all, it seemed to me like Cain Velasquez was coming at this thing in an MMA situation, which you might want to expect going into this since he's an MMA guy and he doesn't know much about pro wrestling. But was this supposed to be MMA rules? That would have been something maybe you wanted to address before we got to the matchup. No. We're going to have them in the ropes, hugging, tying up with one another, and the referee's not even counting. He doesn't give a shit. Apparently, the rules don't apply in every other match when there's a tie-up in the middle of the ring or against the ropes or in the corner and the two contestants do not release. The ref comes in and he starts counting. And if he gets to the number 5, you are both disqualified. Why was that not a thing in this matchup? Cain Velasquez looked like a crash test dummy in the arms of Brock Lesnar, almost like his legs were jellified. Like he was lifeless. Every time Brock Lesnar came close, he was just in Brock's arms, struggling to struggle. Like, I couldn't even figure out what I was watching in these 2 minutes. And then you have Cain Velasquez seemingly dominating Brock Lesnar, on points anyway, only to have him tap out to the Kimura lock before this match even begins. What was the point of all of this? You took the championship off of Kofi Kingston to give it to Brock Lesnar to have him do this? I'm sorry, you might not be the biggest Kofi Kingston fan, but I would have much rather seen what was coming next for Kofi than seeing all of this with Brock Lesnar. And all of this essentially becomes just a setup for a Brock Lesnar versus Rey Mysterio program, which I'm really not interested in 2019. There's an entire roster of worthy and willing and great current day superstars that should be challenging for the WWE Championship, but we're going to go back to a 40-year-old dude who's a shell of himself, who's half of what he used to be, to get destroyed by Brock Lesnar? Or is Rey Mysterio going to be the one to beat Brock Lesnar? Does it matter if you beat Brock Lesnar anymore? Goddamn, Seth Rollins did it twice already. So how important is it to have a match with Brock Lesnar? How impactful was this match with Brock and Cain Velasquez? What did it mean? And what's the deal with Rey Mysterio's miraculous recovery at the end of the matchup? You got your arm in a sling for 5 days. And now suddenly, your cousin loses, and you could swing a chair with ease multiple times? Now your arm doesn't hurt? Your arm didn't hurt enough to maybe help your bro out in this matchup? Well, I mean, I don't understand the logic here. Is his arm hurt or not? If it's not hurt, then why are we watching Cain Velasquez try to get vengeance for Dominic and not his own biological dad? For 2 minutes of garbage. To make Cain Velasquez look like a schmuck. To give Brock Lesnar a measure of comeuppance? To make him look like not so much of a schlub? He can erase that loss to Cain Velasquez? No, this does nothing. They are not the same. Awful. Absolutely awful. We had the tag team turmoil match as the second match in this thing, and I'm not going through the entirety of it because it's not worth your attention and it's not worth mine. It doesn't even matter what you thought the quality of the match was if you watched it. If this was a good match, great. If you thought it was a good match, great. You know why this match is fucking retarded? Because this is a competition for the best tag team in the world. We all know how the WWE does that shit. They proved it with the whole Shane McMahon debacle. And they did almost the same thing this year by not having one of your two tag team champions. Your two sets of tag team champions to choose from. You got the Viking Raider Warrior Raiders, who are the champions of Raw, and you got the Revival, who are the champions of SmackDown. And this is a tag team turmoil matchup to determine the best tag team in the world. And you're telling me that that team is neither one of your champions? The fact that the finals of this turmoil matchup was not the Revival versus the Viking Raider Warrior Raiders, a battle between two champions to see which set of champions are the best in the world, proves that you don't have any idea what you're doing. Oh, well, the OC needs to get over. Why? Why? Now you care about getting them over now, when you need to clearly put over your champions that nobody gives a shit about. People don't care about the Revival. The way you book the Viking Raiders are ridiculous. So here you have a chance to make them do something special, and you failed on both accounts. To give it to the OC, to give it to the Good Brothers? Why? All they have done is lose since teaming back up with AJ Styles. All they have done is lose since before teaming back up with AJ Styles, with one inconsequential championship reign in between. And I'm supposed to give a shit now? I gotta call the OC the best tag team in the world because they won a bullshit turmoil matchup and got a ridiculous black trophy? They botched this big time. Big time. The results of the match doesn't matter. Do you want me to tell you that Hawkins and Ryder got fucking squashed? Like, who cares? Who cares? Nobody. Definitely not me. Up next we had Mansoor defeating Cesaro, my favorite match of the night. This was the one time on this night that I watched an entire match from start to finish and didn't get mad at anything. Because Cesaro is so goddamn good that even when he loses to a guy like Mansoor, he looks great. And props to him for being okay with going out there and putting over a kid like Mansoor. This was a great match. If I would recommend to you one match to watch from this night, this is the one to watch. It was great. And I can't say anything bad about it. Coupled with the fact that he had that promo afterwards and he's putting himself over and everything that we talked about at the beginning and just how important this moment really was to him as a Saudi person and to the Saudi nation watching. That's important. That's important. And it can't be understated. We're going to leave it at that. We're going to get back to the bad shit. Because Tyson Fury defeats the Big Show. I mean, Braun Strowman. I'm sorry, but what's the difference? What's the difference at this point? Braun Strowman is this generation's Big Show. He's going to be good guy, bad guy from one week to the next. He's going to be getting knocked out by people he shouldn't be getting knocked out by. And this is going to just be a whole repetition of all that garbage we've seen. And soon enough, he's going to be dressing up in costumes, coming out dressed up like Baby New Year on New Year's Day, blowing horns with a top hat, drinking champagne or some shit just to copy Chris Jericho, doing the bubbly gimmick. I don't know. He's a 7-foot clown who got knocked out. Oh, well, he didn't get knocked out. He got counted out. He got knocked out. He got punched in the face, and he couldn't get back into the ring. A big 7-foot lumbering oaf, a giant lummox, couldn't get back to his feet from a right hand from the lineal world boxing champion. Like that's supposed to mean something to me. If you don't watch boxing, you don't care about Tyson Fury. If you do watch boxing, you probably don't care about Tyson Fury. I've never even heard of him until this match. I knew who Floyd Mayweather was. I know Muhammad Ali. I know who he was. I don't know who Tyson Fury is. I knew who Mike Tyson was. And maybe that's my fault because I don't watch boxing anymore. Maybe it's because it's more something popular outside of the States than in the United States. I don't know. But that's what this means to me. Nothing. Only made worse by the further degradation of the Braun Strowman character into the modern day Big Show. And I really could care less. We also had a 24/7, hey, look at me, I'm a clown, avocado, gold-plated, toasted championship segment where R-Truth regained the championship and then lost it back again to the Bollywood boys. And I don't care at all. You know who else didn't really care? Anybody in the crowd. Nobody gives a shit about this. I hope and wish that this title would just die. All it is doing is bringing down the show overall, and they don't need them anymore. They didn't need it in the first place. Get rid of it. It's trash. We don't need more trash. We need you guys to start cleaning the trash. You could start with that rotten avocado. Get it right the hell out of here. AJ Styles defeats Humberto Carrillo to retain the United States Championship. Humberto Carrillo, during the pre-show, won a Battle Royal that nobody gave a shit about. But the winner of the Battle Royal was going to receive an opportunity at the United States Championship. So now we have a rematch of a match that we just seen on SmackDown at the Crown Jewel. Great. Great. And I would be remiss if I sat here and told you, oh, Humberto Carrillo's so great, he's so agile, he's so athletic. I can't be a guy that sits here on Wednesday and complains about the Lucha Brothers and all their flippy nonsense and then not have a problem with seeing the same exact thing on a WWE show. Essentially, if you've seen one flippy-dippy guy, you've seen all of them. And there's nothing really that stands out about Humberto Carrillo except his Power Ranger gear that he wore on his debut and continues to wear coming out for his entrance. The cape and the cowl. That's the only thing I remember. Everything else I've seen him do in this match, I have seen earlier in the week in some other match by some other flippy-dippy guy. like a Rey Fenix. It's so clear to me that whoever booked this put the Rey Fenix spot in this match. Because nobody else in wrestling does that. At least not on the main stage or on the main event level. I've never seen anybody do that but Rey Fenix, and now Humberto Carrillo is doing it. Why? This match was unnecessary. Everybody's talking about how great it was. It would be great if I didn't know where it was already heading. Carrillo ain't going anywhere. He's going to go right to the back of the line, right behind guys like Ricochet, right behind guys like Cedric, guys like Buddy Murphy, all these guys that we've said multiple times on this channel since the debut of Humberto Carrillo. It's going to mean nothing. Just like they came out with a splash, put on fantastic match after fantastic match against high-ranking superstars, and now they're sitting in the back waiting for their helping of mashed potatoes and mac and cheese because there's nothing else for them to do. You want to put somebody over, why not have Buddy Murphy versus Humberto Carrillo? We don't need them going after the United States Championship. There's no reason for that. You can have done something else with AJ Styles, and that would be a match where both of these guys could get each other over. That's the type of shit we should be seeing on Raws and SmackDowns. But we don't. We don't. Instead, we're seeing new faces being served up to current roster guys and getting their shoulders pinned to the mat, never truly gaining any momentum, even though they're putting on great matches. So in the end of the day, what good is it? It's not good. It's not good. Natalya defeats Lacey Evans. We talked in length at the beginning of the show about the importance of this matchup. But it's time now in this segment of the show to tell you guys, I don't understand the WWE's logic here. Natalya, obvious choice. She's known throughout the world. She's a member of the Hart family. She's got that lineage and legacy behind her. This would have been a prime spot for her. Bret Hart was very popular around the entire world. They love the Hart family, so no brainer. We need a matchup. Let's put a Hart family member out there and let's do this. Putting her against Lacey Evans makes absolutely no sense. Why? Not just because we've seen it 100 times already, but because they just recently made up on television. They were just a tag team, not just a week ago. Apparently, they were on the mend. Why have them in a fight now? Why not have, if you're going to do a rematch, do Natty versus Charlotte? You have the Harts versus the Flairs. I think that would have been more impactful for the first ever WWE women's match in Saudi Arabia. You want to make history? You have a Hart versus a Flair. Because Natty versus Lacey Evans would mean more? Do they give a shit in Saudi Arabia about the bam bam cappy and mothballs? I doubt it. But they would care about Charlotte because she's a Flair. Just like they cared about Natty because they're a Hart. And though we've seen that match 100 times already too, if you're going to do a rematch, do a big time rematch. Don't do this. The match, as far as their matches go, was actually not the worst encounter between the two of them. Lacey Evans continues to remain stiff, looking many times to me like she still needs a lot of work. But at the end of the day, it didn't matter who won. It didn't matter who lost. What mattered is that it happened. And what mattered was that little girl that had my attention. And I don't know, maybe it's because I'm a big old softy at heart. Maybe it's because I have a daughter that I want to believe can grow up. And I want her to believe that she can do and be whatever she wants. And that she's as equal as any guy on the planet. That's what I want her and all women to believe. You should all believe that. And this is a moment, man. You can't shit on it too much. Match quality? Meh. You know, rematch over and over again? Pfft. But at the end, if you're not moved by this, and you weren't, you know, just taken back a little bit, then maybe you're even more of an asshole than I am. One thing I didn't enjoy was the Team Hogan versus Team Flair. My dislike of this comes solely off of the fact that it shouldn't even exist. It's just, there's no importance to it. The winning team is going to get nothing. This is just a battle of egos between two people who are in their 70s and shouldn't be on television in 2019. For whatever reason you want to put on it. If you don't want to see Hogan because he's old, fine. If you don't want to see Hogan because you think he's a racist, fine. Either way, Hulk Hogan shouldn't be on TV in 2019, even if he wants to be a manager, because it just doesn't do anything anymore. And I was the biggest Hulkamaniac, but it doesn't mean what it used to mean. So why do we keep doing it? Ric Flair, what was his purpose? He did nothing. He came out, he wooed a bunch of times, woo, woo, and then he stood out there and got all pissed off every time his team was in a precarious situation. Randy Orton hits an RKO on Roman Reigns in this match. And Roman kicks out. Until this night, the RKO was the most protected finisher in all of professional wrestling. Didn't matter who he hit that thing with. Once he hit it, you were done. Nobody kicks out of the RKO. Until now. Apparently Roman does. And that boils my blood because I don't see the purpose in that. I don't understand it not one bit. These guys aren't even on the same show anymore, so it's not like you're going to go forward with this. Why execute the RKO on Roman Reigns if he's not going to be pinned? Have him get out of it at the last minute. Have him push away. Don't have him hit it and then kick out. Have somebody bail him out. He's got 4 fucking partners. They couldn't have came in and made the save? You had to make him kick out, making him look like the only person on the planet that is impervious to the effects of the RKO. It's unforgivable to me. And then Roman Reigns wins the match for Team Hogan with a spear on Randy Orton. Who cares? What did he win? Why is Hogan so happy? Oh, I beat Flair again, brother. Oh. No, you didn't. You did nothing. You stood out there, barely able to stand. You let Jimmy Hart bounce around you like a puppy with a megaphone, and that's it. There was nothing important about this match. Nothing. Doesn't matter how good the action was. Oh, you don't see 10-man tags all the time. We got Survivor Series coming up in a couple of weeks. We should be seeing this then. This wasn't an elimination match. This was a straight-up 5-on-5, and it bored the hell out of me. I didn't care about it. And neither should you. And that brings us to the main event of this shit show. The Fiend, Bray Wyatt, defeats Seth Rollins to win the WWE Universal title. And I'm not happy about it. And that's the WWE's fault. I should be ecstatic. Seth Rollins is no longer the champion. They put the title on the Fiend. Why am I not happy? Well, let's break it down. It's quite simple, really. WWE fucked this up on a whole nother level with the Hell in a Cell. Why did you do this? Because it was Halloween? Oh, we gotta have the Fiend win on the Halloween day. Because it's like a creepy thing. We gotta do that. What was wrong? Hell in a Cell is not creepy enough? You don't care about the lineage of the Hell in a Cell? The characters like Mankind and The Undertaker that have come before and have done battle in that sadistic structure? You don't care about any of that. None of that matters. We're gonna do it on Halloween. Oh, we gotta do it on Halloween. Yeah. Go tell Mr. McMahon Halloween's coming. Let's see what he says. Don't make it a Halloween Havoc. Don't make it anything special like I proposed. We're gonna do it at the Crown Jewel on Halloween. Yeah. And we're gonna give him the belt then. After he's already stained by the performance of the Hell in a Cell. There's no reason why he shouldn't have walked out of the Cell the champion. At the end, all you did was make everybody hate Seth Rollins even more. And you made the moment that we all wanted less impactful. It feels forced. It feels like they're putting a Band-Aid on an open flesh wound that is profusely bleeding. And they took one of those, little fingernail-sized Band-Aids and, yeah, but that'll fix it. How does that fix anything? You gave a Raw Championship to a SmackDown superstar. That's mistake number one. You ruined everything about it leading up into it. You kept that stupid red light. I don't understand that. We don't need gimmick lighting for the Fiend's matchups. I'm pretty sure everybody in the crowd and all of you guys like me at home would like to see the detail in the mask and would like to see things get a little... we don't have HD and 4K fucking TVs to watch everything tinted red. We want ultra clarity. This is not that. Spent the first 5 minutes of the matchup futzing with my goddamn settings to try to get the red down so that I could see what's actually going on and it doesn't just look like a big red blur in my face. This match, coupled with the Hell in a Cell match, and you take these two matchups and you look at them on the outside and you see how they're booking the Fiend, and I don't understand it. And I understand we've had guys like The Undertaker who were impervious to things. Would take a lot of offense and then he'd slowly rise up and rest in peace and do the whole nine. I get that. But you can't take 9 curb stomps. You didn't see The Undertaker take 15 Hogan leg drops and still kick out. You didn't see The Undertaker get chokeslammed by Big Daddy Cool Diesel 5 times in one matchup on the steel entry ramp and get up. You didn't see these things. You didn't see Triple H take a sledgehammer and go full on 2 blows to the head of The Undertaker. Full freaking shot. Boom! To the face of The Undertaker and see him get up. That has not happened. Because when Triple H hit the guy with the sledgehammer once in the head, boom, it was done. Didn't matter. The Undertaker stood there. He was down. Then the beating would commence, and then he'd have the DX come out, and whatever would happen, and the Undertaker would now be down, and nobody would believe it. Oh my God, the Undertaker is down. And that leads you to waiting for the build-up and the return. Here we have Bray Wyatt in 2 back-to-back matchups, taking over a grand total of 20 curb stomps, which is Seth Rollins' go-to finisher. It's what got him the WWE Universal Championship. He needed to use it 5 times on Brock Lesnar, but now he's used it 20 times in 2 matchups, and you can't beat the Fiend. He's hit the Fiend in the head with the sledgehammer twice. He's beaten the hell out of him all over the place, and the Fiend doesn't sell the finishers. Now, the problem that I have with it is not so much that he doesn't, but why would the Fiend be down from clotheslines and right hands and kicks from Seth Rollins, and you see the Fiend down and he's selling it? Oh my God. And he looks like he's getting his ass kicked, and then he just springs back to life after the curb stomp. It's like the curb stomp is the one thing that reinvigorates the Fiend. Every time he would take one, he would just pop right back up. How does Seth Rollins go about using the curb stomp anymore? Oh, well, it's really effective against everybody except the Fiend. That makes 0 sense. It doesn't matter that you gave him the championship. It's the way you're booking him. Who's going to beat him? Who's going to beat him? If you can't hit him with steel chairs, steel sledgehammers, drop him off of the entry ramp into exploding firework rigged friggin' production boxes. They blew him up, essentially. Seth Rollins did everything he could possibly do. So how do you go forth booking the Fiend now? They overbooked his matchups in his first 2 outings to a point where he is ruined. He's ruined. If he's impervious to everything, then he should never be beaten, right? Who's going to beat him? Roman Reigns? It's going to do 17 Superman punches and 3 spears? Is that's going to be more powerful than 20 curb stomps? Roman's going to be the anointed one? We're going to go back down that shit? I don't understand it. Am I happy that the Fiend won? Absolutely, I'm happy that he's the champion, because anytime Seth Rollins can be in pain, it makes me happy now. Wasn't always the case, but you want to be an asshole and block me because I speak the truth? Then I'm going to be happy when you start to fail. And all you've done is fail. This match shouldn't exist. What are we going to do with the championships now? Bray Wyatt's going to be on SmackDown and the Fiend's going to be on Raw? No thanks. Who cares about that? So we're going to have to watch Friday to see Firefly Funhouse segments, and they're all going to culminate on Monday's Raw, when the Fiend shows up to defend the like, what? You have the brand split in place. You can't have one guy, even though he's playing 2 roles on both shows. You can't have The Undertaker be Mark Calloway on one show and then The Undertaker on the other. You know what I'm saying? You can't have Mick Foley be Mankind on Monday and Cactus Jack on Friday and he'll be Dude Love on NXT's. You can't do that. That's stupid. Everything about this show was stupid. Everything about this show was worthless. I don't care how many tables you want to stack up. I don't care where you want it to go in the arena. You could do all the fireworks and pyro in the world. They spent more money on pyro at this show than they probably did on the entirety of the performing roster members. And don't you dare miss an angle. God forbid fireworks go off and we don't have to cut to the outside and to this angle and that angle and the chopper cam and the fan cam and the this cam and kiss cam and that cam. For the fucking fireworks. Doesn't matter how much fluff and you know, oh, hey, look at the pretty colors. It's not going to fool me into believing that you gave me a great show because you didn't. Big deal. That's what it is. And that's what makes me even more mad. Oh, did you hear if the Fiend won the title? Big deal. Big deal. He should already have been the champion. Who cares now? Oh, well, let's see where it goes from here. You know where it's going to go? Right in the trash. How are they going to fix the championship situation when the Fiend is supposed to be on SmackDown? Is Brock Lesnar going to be moved to Monday Night Raw so that he could play with Rey Mysterio and his family on the red brand? Are we doing a swap? Is Bray Wyatt going to change the red Universal title to blue? These are the compelling questions I have following the crown jewel. You want to know if it was worth watching? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Who cares? Who cares? The best match on this card was Mansoor versus Cesaro. Other than that, maybe Styles and Carrillo. But aside from those 2 matchups, everything else on this night was pretty much skippable. I will stand by my open and tell you guys how important the impact of that Natalya Lacey Evans match was to the entirety of the world. Let's be real. When you go to a place where certain things don't happen, and you are the first to do those things, and you break down those walls, and you break down that barrier, regardless what the motivation behind it might be, whether it's corporate WWE politics or not. It happened, and it means something. So don't be a dick about it. The match was shit, absolutely. But little girls around the world don't know that. And if they do, then they're even smarter than they know, and they should be brought onto this show. And I would love to talk to you. I'd love to talk to you because you have an amazing brain. If you're 7 years old and you watch that match and you're like, oh, this match is garbage, but I really appreciate the fact that two women are fighting in my country for the first time, then you're a genius. Then you're a goddamn genius. You're a prodigy. And you should have your own wrestling podcast. But if you want to be a dick about it, bring it somewhere else. Because I don't want to hear it. I'm as honest as I am fair. And I'll tell you guys, the match was shit. But the meaning of the match, at least to this guy, it's like a choke-up situation, man. If it doesn't hit you right here, when you look at how it affected the people in that crowd, wrestling can be magic, even when it's trash, apparently. But when they come back home, if they get back home, because there's problems getting home, I've heard, so I don't even know how SmackDown's going to turn out in a couple of hours. But I'll be here to let you know exactly how it goes down, because we're going to be back tonight with the SmackDown Live review. Everything got pushed a little bit late. I don't even think we're going to do an NXT review, because nothing really happened on NXT worth talking about, and we can cover all that on the Saturday show with the comparison between AEW and NXT. But SmackDown tonight should be rather interesting, because from what I'm hearing on the grapevine, a lot of superstars are stuck in Saudi Arabia, and they can't get home. And the WWE are in full panic mode, but we're going to see what happens as we go to SmackDown tonight. And I hope to see you guys here for the review following it later on tonight, usually about 12 midnight. Following a SmackDown, we go live with our reviews. Well, not live, but our reviews go live on YouTube, and I hope to see every one of you guys there. Don't forget to smash that like button if you enjoyed what we had to say today. If you were cool with everything I had to say in the open and you understand why those two particular moments are so important and why they gave me all the feels, hit that like button right now, because you're a smart guy and or gal and you understand what I'm saying. And then you can share this video with each and every one of your wrestling buddies all over the wrestling world and show them, hey, look, not every YouTube wrestling podcaster is a complete tool and can see the value in some things even though they are complete trash. Because these people need to be educated. And not everything needs to always be 100% negative. There are ways to find silver linings to even the darkest clouds. And then I ask you guys to drop your hammers in the comment section down below. Use those sledgehammer emojis and those poop emojis. Drop your poop hammers down on the crown jewel. Let me know what you would give the poop. I mean, this whole entire show is a poop hammer, so I'm not going to even bring it up. There's no one particular moment that I could clearly outline over the other for a poop hammer, but if you have one, feel free to leave that in the comments section down below. And most importantly, if you are not already a member of the 2,000 plus that fulfill the Sledgehammer Army and are taking over YouTube one subscriber at a time, then you need to hit that subscribe button right now. Join the newest, fastest, coolest faction in all of the YWC as we look to take over the world more than Pinky and the Brain. My name is Nick Nightmare. This is the team. Thor the Sledgehammer, the official Sledgehammer of the Sledgehammer Wrestling Show. His tag team partner, the World Heavyweight Champion of all the microphones in all the world, Mr. Blue the Snowball. The most important member of the team, as always, is each and every one of you. That, my friends, is going to do it, and we are out of here. And we will see you next time right here on your new favorite wrestling show, the Sledgehammer Wrestling Show, only on Sledgehammer TV, right here on YouTube.com.